Hello, everyone. I'm back. Okay, so for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Shon Wilson. I'm an actress living and working in Los Angeles, and I make content dedicated to inspiring you to pursue your dreams. For those of you who are returning into my podcast, Not So Average with Shon Wilson, I'm back. I am not sorry that I was gone for as long as I was. I was working 2 films during this month, and so my time was super packed. Not only was I fortunate enough to be in these 2 films or work on these 2 films, I also traveled for one of them. We went to Boulder, Colorado, and that was a brand new experience for me. I've never been to Colorado before. I've never been to that area of the country before. It was beautiful. It is fall right now where I live, or in the country that I live, the hemisphere where I live, it's fall. And so living in Los Angeles, we don't get a lot of change of seasons, as most people know. And in Boulder, they absolutely do. It was gorgeous. And the production team that I worked with for this film was amazing. I enjoyed my entire experience. The fact of the matter, though, is I owe you guys some time. So I am here today with a brand new episode for you. In today's episode, we are going to do something fun. Go figure, right? That's like my thing. So we're going to do another quiz. And the truth is, it is possibly for some people not going to be as fun as the first quiz we did. If you haven't seen or listened to the episode with the first quiz that I've given for this season, it's a quiz where you get to figure out what you want or it's a quiz about making choices. I'm going to need to look up the name of that episode. It's episode 12. I can tell you that. And I'm going to need to look up the name of it again, and I will, link it to in the show notes here to this episode. That one was really fun, right? This one might be a little less fun for some people because it is a quiz to determine whether or not you are in survival mode. The reason why I am doing this quiz with you is because for a lot of us, being stuck in survival mode is the very thing keeping us from pursuing our dreams, not even achieving them, but just pursuing them because we're so focused on trying to survive. This can happen if we've experienced a trauma or if we moved someplace new, which can be considered traumatic. For some people, if we've moved someplace new and everything is about like trying to get your footing, trying to get a sense of security. And sometimes we don't readily or easily come out of that mode, that grasping, scrounging, hypervigilance mode, right? And particularly if we are someone who has historical trauma in our background. Any kind of change, especially big changes, can cause us to get into and stay in survival mode. So with today's quiz, you're going to determine whether or not you are in survival mode. If you've been in it for a while, you will know. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 3 easy and free ways to immediately get into receiving mode. Look at that, just that fast, right away. These are so simple. Some of you are going to be like, what, Shon, are you for real? Yes, I'm for real. I'm Shon. Real is what I do. So 3 very simple and again, free ways for you to immediately shift your energy so that you are in receiving mode. Being in receiving mode will help you to see when the universe is providing you with things that are what you really want. It will also help you accept what it is you want, what it is you've asked for. And then after I give you those 3 very simple and free ways to get into receiving mode, I'm also going to share with you 2 tools that I used to help me get and stay into receiving mode, which is a mood, right? It's a great mood. These 2 tools were created by content creators far larger than me. You have heard of them both. Deepak Do you say Chopra or Chopra? Probably Chopra, right? Deepak Chopra and Christina Lopes. Now, some of you might be like, Christina Lopes, I don't know who that is. Well, then you need to go back and watch episode 4 of Not So Average with Shon Wilson, because I talk about her in that one. But both of these highly venerated, I think I'm using that word right, both of these very popular content creators have tools that, again, are free and available for you to access right on YouTube, that give you a way to get into and stay in receiving mode. I'm so excited to be able to share all of this with you. So I believe that's a long enough intro. It's like 5 minutes, and I hate when people intro for that long. So hopefully you stuck around. Hopefully you take this quiz. Hopefully you find it not just beneficial for you, but informative, you know? And I know that these tools that I'm going to share with you afterwards are going to be helpful. So welcome back to Not So Average with Shon Wilson. Let's do this thing right now. Hey guys, it's Shon. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Okay, guys, so this quiz is compiled of a bunch of different quizzes that I found online. And so, and I altered them to make them listener friendly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through each section. You can either write your answers down on a piece of paper, or you could just make note of them, you know, and see what you feel like when we get finished with all of the questions. So let's just start. Yes or no? Do you wake up in the morning feeling heavy and unmotivated? Do you allow your thoughts or others' comments to stop you from going towards your dreams and potential? Do you struggle to know what you really want? So those 3 questions, answer for yourself, yes or no. For this next section, note if any of the statements that I'm about to say sound like you to you. Like when I say them, does it ring a bell, or does it resonate with how you typically feel? And typically is important, not just occasionally or every once in a while, every few months, but how you typically feel. Even the smallest obstacle or challenge overwhelms me or causes me to lash out. It doesn't take much resistance for me to quit or give up on what I'm trying to do. I'm very hard on myself and others. I rarely know when to stop or change directions. I never know when or even how to let go when it's time. Those 2 go together, so let me read them again. I rarely know when to stop or change directions. I never know when or even how to let go when it's time. So that's kind of like, you know, if you feel like you're like that Energizer bunny type, that person that like accomplishes one thing and immediately starts on the next thing, or finishes a task and immediately has to hit the next task, and you're not like really getting any breaks. Or you finished with a project or something that you were working on, and it's time to hand it over to the person who has the next phase, the responsibility for the next phase of it. And you have to keep checking in with them. You can't stop touching it, right? Or before you turn it in, you just keep tweaking it and making changes to it or adjustments to it or whatever. So, or just obsessing about it, you know. On the show The West Wing, Josh Lyman, who is a character I love, played brilliantly by Bradley Whitford. He illustrates this really, really, really well in one of the episodes about the election when Bartlett, played by Martin Sheen, got elected. And, you know, Josh was the campaign manager, and he had done everything that was his to do. And then it was time to let go and just wait and see what the results are. So I'm going to read that one to you again. I rarely know when to stop or change directions. I never know when or even how to let go when it's time. And the first half of that really resonates for me personally, because sometimes I'll just keep going on something and going and going and going because I have to finish. It's like I feel like if I don't finish, I have failed. So if that's you, you might be struggling with survival mode. We are still in the section where you are to note whether or not the statement I say sounds like you to you. So the next one is, I can't remember the last time I laughed or enjoyed a day. My memory and focus and concentration levels are poor. I'm snipier grumpier, or cry more easily than usual. So another test for you with those were 7 statements total. If you don't happen to be writing down your answers, or, doing a little notch, like, when we play, was it hopscotch? One of those games that we played as kids where you you mark the 4 lines and then at 5 you do diagonal. If you're not using a pen or paper in any way to figure this out for yourself, and you're just listening and self-assessing, pause this episode if you need to, if you'd like to, and say these 7 statements out loud. Like, repeat them after me. That's why I gave a little pause after each one, and see if repeating it feels true to you. So I'm going to give you those 7 again with a brief pause in between each one. Even the smallest obstacle or challenge overwhelms me or causes me to lash out. It doesn't take much resistance for me to quit or give up on what I'm trying to do. I'm very hard on myself and others. I rarely know when to stop or change directions. I never know when or even how to let go when it's time. I can't remember the last time I laughed and enjoyed a day. That one makes me very sad. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but when I read that one, it makes me very sad for anyone who might have that feeling. My memory and focus and concentration levels are poor. I'm snipier, grumpier, or cry more easily than usual. Okay, for this next section, answer for yourself. Again, you can write it down or just think about it, feel it out. Which of these do you believe about your life? So with this one, I'm going to do 7 really short statements and tell me which, don't tell me, I'm not there with you, but tell yourself which of these you believe about your life. Everything is urgent. I feel utterly alone and helpless. I'm the only one who can do things right. I have no help. I don't have time or energy to deal with friends or even family besides those who live in my house. What's a vegetable? What's sleep? I'll never get caught up. So with those 7 statements, as you heard them, or if you, again, put them in your own mouth, repeat them to yourself, if none of them sound like you to you, or if none of them are your belief about your life, great. That's wonderful. However, some of them might and others might not. All of them might. The one that's, I feel compelled to explain the one that's what's a vegetable. So this is definitely one of those sections that I tweaked because I didn't want to. Actually, I tweaked all of these because I didn't want to just, steal quizzes from the internet and be like, here, when it wasn't my work. So I got ideas from somewhere out there, and I reworded things for the purposes of this podcast with you guys. So anyway, the one that says, what's a vegetable? Basically, that the actual question in the quiz that I found it on was about whether or not you are eating healthily. And the same with what's sleep. With that one, they were talking about the tendency for people who are in survival mode not to get good sleep or to struggle to even fall asleep. I'm sure everyone out there who is listening to this or watching this has had anxiety or stress keep you awake at night or keep you from falling asleep or waking you up in the middle of the night at times, That one was a big one for me back when I was stuck in that survival mode. Okay. For this next section, tell me, does one or more of these statements describe your approach to life? Again, I keep saying tell me, but this is not about me. It's about you. So as you hear these statements, notice whether or not they describe your approach to life. Okay. Your goal is to avoid having a terrible day. That's the first one. Is that your approach to life? The second, everything is a reaction. You're never proactive. You're never one step ahead. You bounce from response to response. So those all go together. I'll say them again. Everything is a reaction. You're never proactive. You're never one step ahead. You bounce from response to response. And the third one that's part of this section is everything matters way too much. There's no margin for error. So again, is that your approach to life? Now, this is not the way I said it. It may seem like you're supposed to like pick one. It could be that you are approaching life with all of these belief systems or intentions, or you are approaching life with one of them, or hopefully none of them. So just know you don't have to pick one, and you can also pick more than one. Okay. So of all these statements that I said, all these different sections, the statements and or questions in these 3 sections that we just went over, 3 sections, 4 sections. Let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4. If 3 or more of any of these statements, approaches to life, belief systems, if 3 or more of those rang true for you, you are likely in some degree of survival mode. Survival mode is a tricky thing to get out of, because we don't have like a referee in life letting us know when we've finished whatever challenge or growth we're going through. Sometimes it's clear because of the circumstances that we're dealing with that it's over. But while it may be clear in the circumstances itself, it may not be clear to our subconscious mind or to our sympathetic nervous system, especially that sympathetic nervous system. Please don't ask me to explain what that is. I am so terrible at science. Always have been. But this is unfortunately, it's not always easy to come out of survival mode. And as I said in the intro, for some people, if you have a trauma, it can keep you living if you have historical trauma, something from your past, you could be in survival mode at all times and not even realize it. It could just be the way you approach life and people. And it's because you feel threatened. It's because you don't feel safe. It's because you don't know that if your needs will get met. And that is very, very scary. Now, if none of those statements that were part of this quiz that I threw together, if none of those rang true for you, I'm going to give you another really short litmus test that you can give yourself to, again, determine if you might be in survival mode. And this is only 3 statements, okay? These are personality indicators that you might be in survival mode. So these are direct quotes from an article that I saw. And I will be putting links in the show notes to each of the quizzes that I referenced for this episode. But these, because they're direct quotes, let me go ahead and let you know right now. It's from mastermindconnect.com. There's a blog called mastermindconnect.com. And this particular article of theirs was entitled, or entry of theirs was entitled, Survival Mode is Killing You. Okay, so these 3, what I'm calling personality indicators, they don't call it that. These 3 personality indicators might let you know that you are these 3 personality traits might indicate for you that you are in survival mode. Survival mode swallows you up in comparison. Survival mode makes you selfish. Survival mode makes you ungrateful. Now, there are other reasons that you might have a tendency towards comparing yourself to other people. There are many, many other reasons why you might be selfish. And there are many other reasons why you might just live as an ungrateful son of a bitch on the planet. Okay, it doesn't have to be that it's because of survival mode, but these are three character traits you can see in yourself if you are in survival mode. And even if survival mode isn't the reason why you are experiencing those 3 particular things, it's still probably a really good idea for you to get some sort of support to help you have a less harmful way of going through your life. I don't know a better way to put it. Maybe, I don't know. I just feel like it's harmful, and again, I speak from experience. When you live in constant comparison, when you feel ungrateful for the blessings that are in your life, sometimes it's that you're not even noticing them, right? And this definitely was for me with survival mode. I wasn't even noticing that which was good in my life. And not only is that harmful to me, but it's harmful to my relationships with other people. So that's why I call it just, a harmful way of living. Okay, now for the more fun part of our episode. And it is, I am going to give you 3 super easy and free ways to immediately get into receiving mode. Now, these are going to be so easy. Like I said at the top of this episode, these are so easy. You're going to be like, really, Shon? Yes, really, really. Do these things and you will notice a difference in your quality of life. I promise you that. I guarantee you that. They're going to seem so simple that you're like, what? Is she for real? No. Yes, I am for real. And yes, do it. Watch this. Okay, or listen to this. Anyway, so the first one is go to a park and stand in the sun for 2 minutes. That's it. 2 minutes. Now, if you have the time and you have the protection, for those of you who need protection for your skin, though the word out there right now is that we all need protection for our skin, even if you happen to be a melanated person like myself. But anyway, if you have time to be there longer, stay there longer. But go to the park and stand in the sun. The sun literally gives you life-sustaining energy. The sun literally gives to you and doesn't ask anything in return. And what it gives to you is the very thing you need to be able to live at all anyway. So not only will you relax your body and your mind and just receive, because there is no exchange in that moment. It's just you receiving from the sun. But you're also going to breathe more easily, which is going to help to release some of that striving survival mode energy that might be in you. So to get into receiving mode, go to the park, stand in the sun, and just receive. And you're probably also going to get a couple other gifts while you're doing it. Not just what the sun is giving you, but the breeze will blow, and feel that. Feel that in your body. Feel it on your face, because that is also your body and your mind will just, I don't know how to describe it better because I'm not a scientist and I'm not super philosophical, I don't think, but it does it. It shifts you into receiving mode instead of doing mode and striving mode. Okay. And then you will also feel the strength of the earth underneath your feet. And you will realize if even only on a subconscious level, that you are receiving support from the earth itself. Now, I know I sound like a hippie. Can't help it, because these things I'm telling you right now are true. And no, I'm not a hippie. Okay, the second one is lie still and listen to music, preferably a mix of your favorite songs. This is something that we used to do as children all the time, particularly like in our teen years. And as we grow up and we get more and more responsibilities, we stop just lying still and listening to music. Do this at a time and in a place where you're not going to be interrupted by other people, where nobody is going to need you to give to them, and where you can, again, just receive. This is going to shift you into receiving mode. One, because again, you are being still and you are just taking into your ears that which is being given to you by whatever device you're using to listen to the music. And then music is naturally calming, right? Even like my boyfriend, he listens to, I don't know but to call it, I don't know the difference between hard rock and heavy metal, but it's one of those two. I think he likes them both, but Metallica is his favorite band. So whichever one that is, that's his preference for music. And that to me isn't my first choice of how to relax, but it does relax him. So again, lie still somewhere. I'm not saying listen to music while you do chores. I'm not saying listen to music while you go drive somewhere. Listen to music while you do your homework or do work for your job at your desk. Lie still and listen to music, preferably a mix of your favorite songs, because that is going to feel like a gift to you. And that also shifts you into receiving mode. It's going to feel like a gift because it's your favorite stuff. Speaking of favorite, that takes us to number 3. Eat one of your favorite food items or desserts every single day. Now, some of you who listen to or watch this podcast are relatives of mine or friends of mine. And I post about food on Facebook like all the time. Like 99.5% of my Facebook posts are about food. I don't know why, but they are, right? So I'm a huge advocate for enjoying food. And so eat one of your favorite food items or desserts every single day. If you only have one favorite food, do it once a week instead, okay? And use the other 6 days of the week to try a new food item or dessert that you've never had before. Explore. That also puts you into receiving mode because you are having new experiences. You're getting new experiences. I highly advocate making these 3 items that I just mentioned regular practices for you. With the park, if you can get to a park, or even better, the beach. Oh, yes. Oh, I wish I lived by the beach. But go somewhere, stand in the sun for 2 minutes minimum. Do that once a week at least. Lie still and listen to music, preferably a mix of your favorite songs, once a week at least. And then eating something that you truly enjoy every single day. And if you don't want to do the one favorite food item every single day, then, mix it up with some other favorites of yours or try new foods. But have that taste bud explosion experience. I don't know what the words for it are, but have that experience of enjoying something regularly. And that is going to put you into receiving mode. And the more you receive these little gifts that you are going to be giving yourself, the more you're going to be connected to that part of you that can enjoy life. And while it's not going to magically make the parts of your life that have you in survival mode disappear, your challenges will still be there. You will get to have a break from those challenges. And that break or those moments of respite or those moments of enjoyment will help you get through your day better. One of the things that was mentioned when we were in the quiz section of this episode was something about there are 2. One is that your goal is to avoid having a terrible day. Oh, man, what a horrible goal to have, just to not have a bad day, right? And then the other one there was another one similar to that. I can't remember the last time I laughed and enjoyed a day. And while that sounds like unrealistic, that is very real for a lot of people. And so if you do these 3 very easy, very simple things that I've given you for getting into receiving mode, you will get to have some enjoyment in your day every day. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but there's a baby out in the back alley. That sounds weird, but I live in, a suburb of Los Angeles. And so we're an apartment dwelling lifestyle here. And between each apartment building, there are these little alleys. And so there's this baby out in the alley between my apartment building and the building across from me, and that baby is making all sorts of noise. So I don't know if y'all can hear it, but that baby's enjoying itself by just making noise. Do that, Anyway, okay, so now we're going to move on to the, I believe this is probably 30 minutes. This is one of my longer ones, and I don't mean for them to be too long, but when I have something to share with you guys, I want to make sure I don't just like drop the info and skedaddle, but help connect it to, for you to life, hopefully your life, but definitely to my life and my own experiences. You always have the option to pause the episode and come back to it later, fast forward through the parts you don't like, or just stop listening to it altogether. Nobody's holding you hostage, but I do appreciate your being here. All right. Now, I mentioned at the top of this episode that there are 2 tools that I personally used that were created by big name people, Deepak Chopra and Christina Lopes. These are 2 tools I use to get into receiving mode and keep me there. So the first is Deepak Chopra's 21 Days of Abundance Meditation Series. This is something that I'm pretty sure he probably monetized when he first did it, but it's several years old now. And so many people have put each of the meditations on YouTube, even though they are in Deepak's voice, not the voice of the person who has the channel. So there's one channel in particular where this person has put all 21 days of meditation, each one has its own separate video, into a playlist. And I will put a link to that specific playlist in the show notes of this episode of my podcast. But it's called, the playlist is clearly called 21 Days of Abundance Meditation Challenge with Deepak Chopra. And the creator or the channel, okay, his name is, I believe it's pronounced Salim Yeniseri. That's probably not even close to right, but but like I said, I will put the name of his channel and the link to the playlist specifically in the show notes. Now, let me tell you how I used this to get into receiving mode and stay there. I didn't do one of the meditations each day. I did all 21 of them every day. Now, before you get all up in arms about not having time to sit around and meditate all day, I don't have the focus to just sit and meditate. So I definitely did not sit and do 21 meditations every day. But what I did was every night when I went to sleep for 21 days, I played the entire playlist. I had the playlist going as I slept so that I got the messages, so that I sublimated the messages, right? There are, as many of you probably know, different parts of our sleep cycle. We are at different levels of sleep throughout the night or whenever you're sleeping. And before you hit that delta sleep, I think I'm getting this right. Okay. Again, not a scientist. But before you hit that deepest sleep, which I believe is when you're in the delta state, delta waves, you hit some other levels first, one of which is the theta state. And the theta state is a state that I try to make a lot of use of. It's the state of brain activity that is used for hypnotherapy. It's also the state that we're in as little children before we get conditioned through other people's beliefs and rules and punishments, for lack of a better word. Kids start off life in a theta state. And I think it is said that we're in that state until about age 7. I think it was 7. So the theta state is when we are receptive to learning. This is why children learn musical instruments more easily than adults often do, why they are able to learn languages so quickly, and also how they're able to learn the rules of their home environment, their school, their group of friends, why children are so adaptable. They are in theta state all of the time for the beginning of their lives. And so that part of the sleep cycle happens every single night. So what I would do is I would play this playlist of the 21 days of abundance meditations every single night for 21 days. Now, to make sure so let me see that right. To make sure I got all of the messages during some point of being in theta state. Gosh, I'm still having a hard time saying that. Let me see that. Let me see. Let's say, how do I do this? If theta state only happens for, let's say this is not, I have no proof of this, but let's say it happens for only 20 minutes of each night. I don't know when I'm going to hit that. But what I can do is, and did do, is every single night I would start the playlist at a different point within the playlist, so that during those 21 days, at some point, each one of those meditations would have been fed to me while I was in the theta state. I hope I said that clearly. I feel like I finally got there. So with YouTube, when there is a playlist, you can set it to loop so that it plays all night long. And that means you don't have to start the playlist at the very first video. So that's what I did. I used that particular video to reprogram myself while in theta state every night for 21 nights. Within 3 days, I stopped worrying about money. Within a week, I started just randomly receiving money from, sometimes it was gifts from members of my family. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Mommy. I haven't called my mom Mommy since I was like 5th grade. That was weird. And then eventually it became jobs. I started getting more work, So it works. And because I choose to do it while I'm sleeping so that I can't fight against what's being said in the meditation. If I'm awake, then my limiting belief systems can get in the way. So anytime I want to reprogram myself in any way, and I've talked about this before in a different episode, that was the Good Dad playlist episode. I believe it was episode 7, maybe, of season 1. Anytime I want to reprogram myself, I always do it utilizing theta state during my sleep cycle so that I can't rationalize or argue my way out of the change I'm trying to create. The next 2 items come from, like I said earlier, Christina Lopes. One of them is a video called Feminine Energy, What It Really Is and Why You Need It. And then in parentheses, it says, or rather brackets, it says tips to activate. I love this because we are, as Christina Lopes puts it, we are heavily templated as a society and as a world to be in our masculine energy. That's our goal setting energy, our achievement energy, our fix it energy, our solve the problem energy. And we also tend to value that more than some of the things associated with feminine energy, right? She talks in this video and a second video of hers entitled How to Heal Wounded Masculine Energy. I think that's what it's called. Let me double check that. But I am going to, again, put links to all of that in the show notes. But what she talks about is with the feminine energy video, there is a strong focus on tips for getting into the receiving mode. When we are in that active, what's considered masculine energy, that goal setting energy, that logic mind energy, that fix it energy, we are in doing mode, which is also giving mode. And resting, enjoying yourself, dancing, listening to drum music, hanging out, smelling the air, smelling the ocean, using your intuition instead of just your logical mind, being empathic, these things that are part of the feminine energy, which we all have. Okay, she talks about that too. I'm not doing justice to her work, but she talks about the fact that all of us have male and female energies inside of us. And that, again, because of how our society is, we tend to lean more on that masculine, the masculine templating. Again, many people know about yin and yang. She tends to say yin and yang. I'm assuming she went to study this in China somewhere, and that's why she says it that way. I don't know. But anyway, we are mostly in that yang energy. And when we can allow ourselves to get into that yin energy, that restful energy. It's like, when you're wrestling with a problem and then you can't figure it out, but then when you stop thinking about it, the answer comes to you. When that happens, that second half of what I just said, that's you and yin energy. You're not thinking about it anymore. And then you receive the answer. The same with when you're trying to achieve a goal sometimes, or why we have to do effort and surrender. You do your part and then you let it go. And the letting go is the female energy side. So Christina talks about the fact that we have within us also that masculine energy, and the inner masculine she talks about how we need to heal our wounded inner masculine in order to be able to access our inner feminine for maximum benefit, in order to integrate them together and just have a more balanced life. So I encourage you to check out all 3 of these tools. I've been saying 2 tools, but it's really 3 tools, right? Christina's 2 videos and Deepak Chopra's 1 video, or 1 meditation series, because they made such a huge difference in my life. I am so in love with learning, and I am so in love with balance. And I love hearing that I don't have to do it all, that I don't have to figure it all out, that I don't have to fix everything, that I don't have to make things perfect, that I don't have to go after stuff. Sometimes life is just going to give it to me. That's a great thing to hear. I grew up in a family. It's an all-female household. So my sisters and I probably overcompensated for the fact that there was no male in our home. And we do a lot. We do too much sometimes. And these teachings from these teachers have really made a difference in my life. And once I allowed myself to come out of do, push, Energizer Bunny mode, and go into receiving mode, feel receiving mode. Once I did that, everything changed, including getting those 2 movies I got to work on this month. All right, you guys, that's what I got for you for today. As I said before, you guys should definitely check all 3 out, and I highly recommend them. Okay, guys, before I go, I want to remind you that, as always, I will put some resources in the show notes of this episode to help support you in your pursuit of your dream. These resources will reflect some of what we talked about here today. They are specifically to help you through or into the themes of this episode. I also want to let you know that I have started an Etsy shop. As some of you know, I've been selling digital products geared towards artists primarily for several years now. I've been selling them on Fiverr. I won't get into why I actively sought out other ways to sell these products to people, particularly. So the easy version of it is this. Fiverr takes a cut from me and they take a cut from the buyer. I'm not for that. Okay, I don't like that. I don't think I understand them taking a cut from me for introducing me to the buyer, but I do not think they should take a cut from you. So what I have done is I have recently started an Etsy shop. It is called Not So Average Dreamer. Go figure. And on that shop, I have a ton of things, primarily right now for performers and writers. However, I will be adding more resources soon for those of you who have dreams that are not in the field of creative arts. Because I just opened this shop, everything in my Etsy shop is currently marked down by 50%. It's all digital content, so you get it immediately when you order. There's no waiting, there's no shipping to pay for. You just pay for the amount of the product and that's it. And like I said, right now, everything is 50% off. If you have questions, you can always email me at live@notsoaveragedreamer.com, or you can put your questions in the comment section of whatever platform you use to consume this podcast. I believe I've said enough for the day, so I am going to say so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, adieu. That's for my mama. Hey, no. Okay, guys, talk to you later. Bye. Aren't my theme songs fun? I found them at Purple Planet Music. You can find music for your projects there too. Just go to purple-planet.com.